You are 26 years old. It is September 1940. Your husband George has been deployed since March. You haven't heard from him in 3 weeks, which either means the Postal Service is struggling or something you refuse to think about. You have a daughter, Elsie, who is 4 years old and calls the Anderson shelter in the garden the Little House. London is at war, but London is also just London. The market on Roman Road still opens at 6 in the morning. Mrs. Patterson next door still argues with the milkman about pricing. The pub on the corner still fills up at 7. You have heard the air raid sirens before. They've always been a drill. September 7th, 1940, a Saturday. You remember the date because you had just put Elsie to bed with a bowl of Ovaltine. It is 4:43 in the afternoon when you hear it. Not the sirens first, a sound, a low, constant drone from the east. You've never heard anything like it. You go to the window. The sky is full of planes. You count 20 before you stop counting. There are hundreds. The sirens start 3 minutes later. You grab Elsie and run for the Anderson shelter. It is a corrugated metal half-cylinder, sunk 2 feet into the earth and covered with soil. The government delivered it in a flat pack 7 months ago. George put it together in an afternoon and made a joke about it. Right now, it is the most important thing in your life. The first bomb falls somewhere east of you. You feel it in your chest before you hear it. The ground shudders. Elsie starts crying. You hold her against you in the dark and count the seconds between explosions. The Luftwaffe has just sent 348 bombers and 617 fighter escorts over London. This is the beginning of what they will later call the Blitz. What you don't know yet is that the bombing will not stop for 57 consecutive nights. You will spend approximately 80 hours in this shelter over the next 8 weeks. The first night lasts until 4:30 in the morning. When you come out, the sky to the east is orange. The docks are burning. You can smell it from 2 miles away. Mrs. Patterson is standing in her garden in her nightgown, looking at the glow. Neither of you says anything. By the 3rd night, you stopped flinching at the sound of the bombs. By the 5th night, you're sleeping through the smaller ones. The human brain is extraordinary at deciding what is normal. The government has a rule. The underground stations are not to be used as shelters. The authorities worry about panic, about disease, about crowds. On September 8th, a group of people in Bethnal Green buy platform tickets and simply refuse to leave. The next night, there are more. By the end of the week, 177,000 people are sleeping on station floors across London. You were one of them by the 2nd week. Liverpool Street Station becomes your second home. You bring a blanket and Elsie's stuffed rabbit. There is a woman called Margaret who brings a thermos of tea every night and shares it with strangers without being asked. There is an old man called Reg who sleeps in the same spot every night and snores loud enough to compete with the bombing. You will think about these people for the rest of your life. The newspapers call it the Blitz spirit. Churchill tours the East End in his suit and his cigar, and the crowds cheer him. What the newspapers don't print is that looting is rampant. Shops with blown-out windows are emptied within hours. A man 2 streets over is caught stealing watches from a house whose owners were killed the night before. He gets 6 months. People are complicated during wartime. They are brave and terrified and selfish and generous all at once. Nobody tells you this part. On the 14th of October, a bomb falls on Balham Underground Station. A water main ruptures. 64 people who thought they were safe in the deepest shelter in London drown in the dark. You hear about it the next morning. You just have to carry on as normal. November. The bombing starts to thin. Not stop. Thin. Some nights you sleep in your own bed. You wake at every creak of the house, every distant sound. Your body refusing to believe it's over. A telegram arrives on the 23rd of November. George is in a hospital in Yorkshire. Shrapnel, left leg. You sit at the kitchen table and cry for 20 minutes. Then, you make Elsie her breakfast. 43,000 British civilians will be killed in the Blitz. 1 million homes damaged or destroyed. 177,000 people sheltering underground on the worst nights. You will never fully explain to anyone what it felt like. Not the fear, not the strange camaraderie of the shelters, not the way you learned to judge the distance of a bomb by the feeling in your stomach rather than the sound. Your daughter, Elsie, will grow up and have children of her own. She will remember almost nothing of this, just the little house in the garden and a woman called Margaret and tea shared with strangers in the dark. You were never a soldier. You never fired a gun. You just stayed, night after night, in a city that refused to stop being a city.